looking at here is a list of all the British-owned car makers registered with the Society of Motor Manufacturers in 1950. Impressive, isn't it? Today, however, the few that remain are under foreign ownership. The Americans have Aston Martin, Jaguar and Land Rover. The Germans have Rolls-Royce and Bentley. Lotus is run by the Malaysians. As we moved into the 21st century, the biggest British-owned car maker was London Taxis International, makers of the black cab. So what the hell went wrong? Some say it was the British working man's fondness for standing round a brazier, that he spent too much time on strike, and that it's the trade unions that are to blame. Others say it's the fault of weak and stupid management who knew that no matter what they did, they would be bailed out by an equally weak and stupid government. Me? Well, I think the problems can best be encapsulated by looking at just one car. The Triumph Stag. So much was right about it. The Italian styling was sensational. Even today, it looks good.
Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
It was good to drive too, with a slick gearbox, light steering and a smooth ride. The name was good too. Go long on the A. Stag. I have a stag. It was the sort of car you drove with a sneer. A cad's car. You can imagine Terry Thomas behind the wheel, or Leslie Phillips. Would you like to come back to my place tonight, dear? In my stag? Do some rutting? This was almost certainly the best car British Leyland ever made. Which is a bit like saying that the best song Mike Batt ever recorded was Remember You're a Womble. It may well have been the best car that British Leyland ever made, but it was still riddled with faults, chief among which was that rather important component called simply the engine. When the Stag was being designed, Triumph had access to this remarkable 3.5-litre Buick V8. Rover bought the rights to build it, put it in the P6 and then the SD1. Morgan liked it as well and use it to this day in the Plus 8. TVR are still using it too in the Chimera. And don't forget Land Rover. Ever wondered why the modern-day Range Rover can climb every mountain and ford every stream? Because it has one of these. It was and is a magnificent engine. Light, compact, powerful, endlessly tunable and reliable. So it was only natural then that Triumph would use it in the Stag. No, sadly not. They decided it would be much better to create their own V8 by welding together two Dolomite engines. As ideas go, this was a bad one. The engine that resulted was not magnificent at all. It wouldn't stay cool, and when it got hot, which it did all the time, the cylinder heads warped. In engineering terms, it was useless. As a result, the Stag was withdrawn from the American market in 1973 and finally killed off here in '77. It's mad. Triumph and Rover were part of the same company. So why didn't Triumph use Rover's engine? Why? To understand the psychology of British Leyland, we need to go back to before the war, where we find Yorkshireman and former sheep shearer Herbert Austin running Austin, and the very dapper former bicycle manufacturer William Morris running Morris with the help of this chap, Leonard Lord. Now, Len and William had a row, so Len went to work for Herbert, who then retired, leaving Len in charge. Great. We now had two big car companies being run by two guys who hated each other. Then we had the war, after which William decided that he was very old and that he'd much rather go sailing than run a car firm. So Len took over Morris to create the British Motor Corporation, BMC, the fourth largest car firm in the world. Now that would have been fine, but in 1965, BMC bought a company called Pressed Steel. It should really have been called Pandora's Box, because it made the bodies for Rover, Triumph, Jaguar, pretty well everyone. And once BMC owned it, they knew all their rivals' secrets. Once BMC had Pressed Steel, they had everyone. The result, 3 years later, in 1968, was the creation of British Leyland. It was so gigantic, so unmanageable, they should really have called it British Leylandii.
Leyland cars. Austin, MG, Triumph, Mini, Jaguar, Daimler.
Leyland was the world's fifth biggest car firm, and it offered customers a wider choice than any other manufacturer. It should have been one big happy family where Triumph could go to Rover and say, hey, give us your engine. But to explain what it was actually like, we've invited along a